My name's Eric Welander and welcome to my channel. Today is a very exciting day because Google Nest and Apple HomeKit are finally talking to each other through this great new product called the Starling Home Hub. So recently I've gotten more and more into HomeKit, but before that I had purchased a bunch of Google Nest products, like I have their Thermostat, as well as their Nest Hello doorbell, camera, and a bunch of their smoke detectors. But for the longest time, I had no way of getting those to communicate with HomeKit. Now, there is an open source project called Homebridge, which allows for developers to make these integrations with certain other manufacturers that don't support HomeKit, but then so they can unofficially be added to your HomeKit home. And Homebridge Nest was a well-known integration in Homebridge that you could do that with. And I previously filmed a video where I went through setting up Homebridge and adding the Homebridge Nest configuration. But the beauty of the Starling Home Hub is that it's made by the same founder of the Homebridge Nest project, but it, for an $89 cost, takes care of all the problems. You don't have to set up any kind of Raspberry Pi or Homebridge. It's all done for you and wrapped in a nice user interface that works out of the box. So once you get this hub, what's it like to set it up? Now, before I did anything, I went ahead and removed the Homebridge Nest integration from my Homebridge, and then all those accessories were removed from my home. That way, none of that would interfere with the new setup. And then I could sort of test this for you guys as a completely clean setup from scratch. Then in the box for the Starling Home Hub is just the box itself, the power adapter, and the Ethernet cable, along with some very clear instructions. So you just plug in the Starling Hub into your network, maybe connected to your router, and then you go to a particular website, and that walks you through connecting your Google Nest account. And then after some processing, it will show you a QR code on the screen that you can scan with your phone or your iPad to go ahead and add those Nest accessories into HomeKit. Now, it's important to note up front that this is an unofficial HomeKit accessory, meaning it's not been officially approved by Apple to work with HomeKit. So the Home app will tell you that when you try and add this accessory. You do have to acknowledge that this is unsupported. Now, I personally think it's still worthwhile to set up and recommend if you want to integrate Nest and HomeKit. You're integrating two services. You're already using Apple HomeKit and Google Nest, which in that case, you probably already trust them. And this third party is running on open source code that anybody can go out there and read. And it's also not using any kind of third-party cloud service. It's just running on your network and talking to Google Nest and then to your home locally for Apple HomeKit. So make your own decision about it, but that's my 2 cents on using this, even though it's an unofficial accessory. Then once you've added the bridge to HomeKit, you just go through and add each of the related accessories that you have on Nest, and then they'll start showing up in HomeKit. And you can also change like what room they're in and maybe give them more customized names, whatever works for your setup. So I have a bunch of different Nest accessories. So what are they each like to use with the Starling Home Hub and HomeKit? Now, one of the cool things is that the occupancy sensor with Nest, which is an automation Nest has very similar to HomeKit, where you can sort of automate things based on whether you're home or away. For example, maybe you want your thermostat to raise or lower the temperature by a few degrees to save you some energy while you're not home. And that present sensor status is exposed to HomeKit as a switch, which means that you can not only see the status of whether Nest thinks you're home or away, but you can also change that based on some automation in HomeKit. And one of the cool things about the way Nest does their presence is not only are they using apps and things like HomeKit, but they're also using the motion sensors in the thermostats and in the Nest Detects and things to put together, is anybody at home? Now, with my Nest Cam that I've had for years, which is now called the Google Nest Cam Indoor, I believe. Anyways, that is exposed to HomeKit not only as the video, which you can get the live video feed, but you can also get motion sensors for not only just basic motion, but for people and sounds. Now, keep in mind with the live video feed, I'm not getting any audio in mine. Maybe that's just an error in my setup, but I think that's just a limitation of the integration. So you're still gonna be able to see the live video though, and then get a motion sensor trigger if there is sound, but you won't be able to hear that sound in the live feed on HomeKit. You'll still have to use the Nest app for it, but just just to kind of clear up some of those details there. Now, Nest Hello doorbell, I love as a product, and I really wished it worked with HomeKit, and this does a great job of bringing a lot of those features over to my HomeKit home. So I get the live video feed, of course, but then I also get motion sensors for Google's AI for detecting if there's a package delivered or retrieved from your front door. So they are always processing this data in the cloud and can see when a package is delivered. And I found this to be incredibly accurate detection. But now if I wanted to, I can trigger automations in HomeKit based on the motion sensors that are exposed for those events. So there would be, say if a package is delivered to my front door, the motion sensor would trigger in HomeKit and I can do any kind of automation based on that. And then when a package is retrieved, I can do any automation based on that. Maybe turn a light a certain color when a package is delivered and then turn it back to normal when the package is picked up. The other great thing is that the Nest Hello is exposed as a doorbell in HomeKit. So you get status notifications if you want based on when the actual doorbell is pressed. And then you can also trigger any automations based on that button, just like any other kind of button or switch in HomeKit being pressed. It can trigger any kind of events. Maybe you want some exterior lights to turn on if it's night and that doorbell button was pressed. Now, just like the Nest Cam, sounds aren't coming through and I'm not able to talk through the doorbell with HomeKit. You'll still have to use the Nest app for that. Now, Nest Detect. I have some second generation, I think it's second, whatever the latest generation of Google Nest Detect smoke detectors are. Those came with my house when I purchased it, and I have 5 of them around. Now, in HomeKit, those show up basically as smoke detector and carbon monoxide detectors. So the basic stuff that you get with the product itself. Those smoke detectors also have a built-in night light and motion sensor. The motion sensor Nest uses for some of the, are you home awareness and not, but you don't get any of that in HomeKit, but you really have limited stuff you can do with that in the Nest app anyway. So I don't think it would even be possible to expose those. But if you're thinking about those Nest Detects, they are really fancy night lights as well as being smoke detectors. They look great. At least now they can somewhat talk to HomeKit. So the one that a lot of people are probably wondering about, the thermostat. Now this appears in HomeKit just like any other thermostat. And if you have the latest generation Nest thermostat that supports the remote temperature sensors and you have those in your home, I have 3 of those temperature sensors. They all appear in HomeKit as temperature sensors as well. So you can see those values and do any kind of automation based off of those, as well as the temperature sensor on the thermostat. Now, I do think it's probably better if you're doing automation based off of simple things like time of day or certain temperature ranges. Just keep that in the Nest app if you already have a Nest thermostat. But it is nice if you wanted to say integrate, maybe if a temperature sensor gets in a certain range, you turn on a fan in a certain room. That kind of stuff where maybe you need some accessories in HomeKit. It's really nice to have that connection. Now, it's important to note if you're sort of new to Nest or don't know the background, it is a product from Google, and their Nest Cams do stream all their videos straight to Google's cloud. Now, it is secure and under your account and everything like that. But personally, my view on that as far as security is if you're willing to trust your email to Google, then I feel like video of the outside of your house or property isn't that much different. I know there are edge cases, and I know for many of you who watch this channel and love Apple HomeKit, you just want to stay as far away as you can from Google Nest. But for a lot of us like myself, you got into Google Nest because they're great design and some of their former Apple people used to work there. Before then, they got bought by Google and all this stuff. So there's plenty of us out there, I think, who purchased into Nest products, but then got into HomeKit and want some way to get the two to work together. Now, maintaining this bridge is a lot easier than maintaining Homebridge. You don't have to SSH or use some kind of third-party app to control the actual box. You just go to the website which is in, you know, the setup as well, starling-home-hub.local, and then you can manage what Google or Nest account is tied to this integration, as well as turning off or on different accessory categories you might want to expose to HomeKit, resetting the device, firmware updates, diagnostics, you know, the usual kind of stuff is all done in a really nice web page that you can get to when you're on your home network. So is this product worth it for your setup? Now, at the time of recording this, the Home Hub is pretty popular around the internet and pretty back ordered as well. So you might have to wait a little bit to get yours if you're seeing this right when the video comes out. But go to the link in the description and you can go ahead and get your place in line to get one if you think you're interested. So if you already own Nest products, I would definitely say $89 to get them to talk to HomeKit if you have a number of different Nest products is totally worth it. And even if you're not that technical, I think this is way more approachable than Homebridge, and I'd highly recommend considering it. And it also could be great if you live in sort of a house divided where maybe some people are more into Google and Nest and some people are more into Apple and Apple HomeKit. This is a way where you can get both accessories to talk together on Apple HomeKit. Now, I would not recommend going out and buying Nest products new, assuming that then this is a way you can use them with HomeKit. If you want HomeKit products, get get products that are officially supported by HomeKit. This is a third-party integration, and while it looks very promising that it'll stay around for a while, we don't know. Google could shut off Starling Home Hub's API access any day, and then there's really nothing you can do about it. So just keep that in mind as you're evaluating this product and whether it's worth it for your home. Now, if you already have Homebridge set up, Homebridge Nest is one of the more tricky Homebridge integrations to set up, so if you don't have it set up already, you might still consider doing the Starling Home Hub in addition to Homebridge. I will keep my Homebridge around just for communicating with my TP-Link smart plugs, which I love and is totally separate topic. Now, if you already have Homebridge Nest installed, it might not be as worth it. I mean, I kind of did this just to test it out for you guys, but you're not really gaining tons in terms of functionality if you already have Homebridge Nest running. The only thing is if you wanted to spend a little bit of money to sort of reduce any kind of maintenance or things you'd have to do to keep that running, you know, then that might be a good option as well. So give this video a thumbs up if you liked it. Thanks so much for watching. Subscribe to the channel if you aren't already, and I'll see you in the next one.